We're rolling. Okay, so this is another example of a mortgage amortization schedule for my grade 12 essential math class. And okay, we're going to find a class or a house this time, and I have found one. Oh, it's a nice house. Check this out. It's in beautiful St. Agathe, Manitoba. For those of you who don't know your geography here around the city, St. Agathe is about 20-25 minutes south of the perimeter. So here, if I worked here at Fort Richmond Collegiate, this would be a fairly nice commute. It'd be probably shorter than the commute I do now from way out in the west side of town in terms of time. Of course, it'd be more distance, right, because you're driving on the highway, and there'd be days when the winds in the winter is going to make it kind of a crappy drive. But, you know, it'd be this is an attractive-looking house. Look at this thing. This looks like a nice house, and it's in a smaller town. It might be rural. I might have a bigger yard for my dog. My dog is only this big, but he needs a big yard. He likes to run around. So this is it. I'm moving to St. Agathe, and there's my house. All right. Let's write it down. $282,500. So take out this sheet, and hopefully you have some room around it somewhere. And we'll start writing. Oops, hang on, I got to flip my screen. Stop yourself. Oh, take that one. Okay, so 282. Oops. 282,500, right? Let me double check. Did I do that right? Yes, I did. Okay. Let's say, obviously we have to have some down payments. Who remembers from our discussion the other day what the minimum is? 5% is correct. Let's say that, and what's the minimum to avoid that extra insurance cost? 20%. Let's say I fall somewhere in the middle. Let's say I manage to get together a 10% down payment. What would that be? What's 10% of that number? Don't all shout the answer at once. You know, that's rude. Oh, come on, I gave you a little trick. There's an easy way to find 10% of a number. What do? You just take off the zero, right? Because if you take 10, remember, think about this. Here, I'll just write it over on the side. 10% of a number, and again, this number, what was this number again? That's how good my memory is. 282,500. 282,500. 10% of a number, of in almost every context in math means you're doing what operation? Something of something is a multiply. And 10% is 0.1. It's 0.10, but the zero doesn't really matter. I'm not worrying about significant figures or anything. So if you times a number by 0.1, you are taking 1, you're times this number by 1, but you're moving the decimal over 1 place. So that's it. It's 28250, no calculator required. So that's going to be my down payment. My down payment is going to be 28250. So that is my down payment, 28250. And this is good because every one that we've done so far has kind of had nice numbers where the ends were all zeros, and it made the first couple calculations easy. Let's do one with a little more challenge to it. So, how much is my actual mortgage? All right, calculator. We will take 282,500, and we will minus 2,800, 250. And we will get $254,250. So $254,250. That is how much I have to borrow from the bank to make this mortgage work to buy this house. Our next lesson that we will do on Monday, we'll start talking about whether or not I would get approved for this mortgage. What do I have to have? Obviously, I have to have a certain amount of income, and the math for figuring that out we do Monday. Okay, so does anybody, I see a couple of people don't have a sheet. Does anybody need another sheet? Anybody not here when we handed this out? One of these guys? Anybody else? Okay, there we go. There you go. All right, so how do we start this chart? Okay, well, I guess we're going to have to, on the test, I'm not going to worry about this due date thing, but you know what, it does kind of matter. Let's say that I buy this house today. Yay, I bought a house today. And I'm going to say to the banker, I'm going to say, I kind of want my monthly mortgage payments to come out in the first of the month because that's when I get paid. That's what most people do. So that means that it'll be, you don't fill in this, you don't fill in that, you don't fill in that, you don't fill in that. Our first monthly mortgage payment will be due on the first of the month coming up. So this is right now, what is today? Today's March the 10th, my mom's birthday. So today is March the 10th, so my first mortgage payment will be April the 1st. Oh, that's an interesting day for the first payment, right? April the 1st, so let's see. I have to always count. January, February, March, April. It's fourth month, so 04, 01, 23. They always put month, then day, then year. So then what will the next payment be due? 05, 01, 23. And the next one, 06, 01, 23. Now, if I was a meaner teacher, I guess I could give you one of these where, I'd start you in like October, just to see if on the last one you'd put 13. Just to see if it, right? Oh no, I guess what would that be? I guess that'd be November then, right? 11, 12, 13. Just to see if you'd fall for that. People are looking at me like, no, I'm not going to fall for that, Mr. K. So don't even bother. That's what you're thinking, I know. Okay. All right. Somebody, he's not a yes on, but he'd fall for it. I had a parent once write a note to the school that said, please excuse my son, he's going to be away at a tournament for March 29th, 30th, 31st. What's the problem with that? There is no 31st day in March, right? 30 days has September, April, June, and November. So people should know these things. And there's no 13th month, obviously, right? Okay. Story time over. Back to the problem. How do I figure out my monthly payment again? Oh, yeah. I got to go to the chart. And I'll do it down here if you have room. Monthly payment. Now, what number do I use? Do I use how much the house cost? No. I use how much I'm actually borrowing, right? I already paid this much of the house. So that's the amount I have to pay to the bank for the rest of the house. $254,250. And I'm dividing that by 1,000. And then we're timesing by, okay, well, we haven't decided this yet. Let's assume we go to the Royal Bank. There you are, Royal Bank. And the Royal Bank, let's see, if we go, what was our number again? That's how good my memory is. 254,250. So if we go to the Royal Bank, we go, hey, I'd like a mortgage for 254,250. They're going to offer me, according to this website, 5.69%. And that's going to be my monthly payment according to this calculator. Let's assume we do a little better than that. Let's assume that I've been saving for a while, so I'm not some 19, 20-year-old. Maybe I'm closer to 30. I have a good credit rating. I've been paying my bills on time. I've been a good customer for this bank for quite a while. If those are the cases, right? If that's what you've done, you've built a good credit history. You've paid everything to your bank that you're supposed to. You are a good customer of theirs. They're not going to just say, we'll give you the best rate we get. They're going to try to do a little better. So let's say we can go to as low as 5.25. How about that? Let's say that they offer us a 5.25. So that's going to be my interest rate. So my interest rate is 5.25. Oops, go away. 5.25%. And let's say that instead of a 25-year mortgage, let's say that I want a 20-year mortgage. Right? And then there we go. So that's going to be my details. So now I go to my mortgage amortization table. And again, everybody should have this, right? We handed this out a couple days ago. And we said we were going to do 5.25 for not 5 years, not 10 years, not 15 years, 20 years. So that's our number. So $6.71. Oops, I went to the wrong page. Let me go back to there. And, oh, look at that. I've already forgotten the number I was just looking at. What was the number again? It was 5.25. Oh, yeah, 671. Thank you very much. 671. Okay, so 671. And that's kind of like how much they charge me for every $1,000 of mortgage they're selling me. That's kind of the way to think about that number. Now, I've been telling you all along that I never actually do this divide in my calculator because usually these are zeros, so I just knock off the zeros and cancel them. But even when they're not zeros, and even when other things pop up on my screen, go away. Even when they're not zeros, I don't really reach for a calculator to divide by 1,000. How do you divide a number by 1,000? You just move the decimal over 3 spots, right? So all I'm going to do in my calculator is I'm going to do 254.25, and that's the same. That's what this number is when you divide it, times 6.71. Boom. There's my monthly payment, 1706.18. 1706.18. Sweet. So that's going to go up here. And remember, that's the one thing that doesn't change. Oh, go away. 1706.18, 1706.18. Well, I shouldn't say it's never going to change. When might it change? At the end of the blank term. I was waiting for somebody to say mortgage. Nope, the mortgage is 20 years, but the term is usually 5. So at the end of 5 years, if the market's gone up and the interest rates are higher, the bank's going to say, well, we can't offer you 5.25% anymore. They're going to maybe come at you with a higher number. But maybe the percents have gone down. My mortgage went down significantly from when I bought the first time I got it versus the last one where I think like 2% basically. But if I were to walk in tomorrow and renegotiate again, it would be higher than that because interest rates are a little higher now. Okay, but for 5 years, which would be how many payments? How many of these rows would this number hold for? 60. Where'd you get that number from? Yeah, right. 12 months for 5 years. So for the first 60 payments, that's my payment amount. That won't change. Okay, how do I calculate the first interest amount? What formula do we use? This one you've been seeing since grade 10. Interest equals PERT, principal, rate, time. Okay, I guess we better start filling that in. The unpaid balance of my house is how much my mortgage is for, $254,250. And the equity is how much my down payment was, $28250. And there we go. So my interest is going to be based on this principal times the rate. Now, what was the rate again? I think we said 5.25%. And don't forget, that is not 0.525. That would be a 52.5% mortgage. Nobody can afford that, right? Remember when you go from a percent to a decimal, you move the decimal over twice. Remember that? And where do I get this weird number from again? Why a 12th? What are you thinking? 12 months out of the year. Right. This 5.25%, all bank interest rates are always, unless they say otherwise, based on per year. And I want to do a monthly payment, so 1 month is 1/12 of a year. So that's why that's that way. And now we move the calculator over and we punch buttons. So 254,250 times 0.0525 divided by 12. And I think I explained that the other day, right? I think times 1/12 and divide by 12 is the same operation mathematically, and it's fewer buttons. So I'm getting an interest now of $1,112 and 34 cents. So that goes here. 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. How do I figure out my principal? So this is how much of that payment goes to the bank's interest. That's how much I'm paying the bank. That's how much money they made off me on my first payment. No wonder banks are so rich. What about that number? How much of my house did I actually buy? How do I calculate that? What's the calculation here? Any ideas? We did one the other day. We're going to take the payment amount and minus the interest amount, and that'll be my principal. Now, luckily for me, I already have that number in the calculator. if I could just move the calculator over so we could see it. There we go. So it's 1706 decimal 18 minus that last answer I had, 593.84, if I round it to tenths, right, or to hundredths, right? So 593.84. Whoops, wrong place. 593.84. Okay, so that's 593.84. Now, what does that leave on the chart to figure out yet? Oh, okay. What's my unpaid balance now? So I just made a payment of this much money. That much of it went to the interest for the bank, so that some banker somewhere can put in another swimming pool. And this much goes to me actually owning my house. What happens now? What does this number change to? How do I figure it out? Think about it logically. It makes sense if you think about the logic of it. This number represents how much I still have to pay of the money I borrowed. Not the interest, just the money I borrowed. So I've paid this much towards that. This number minus this number. So my new unpaid balance is 254,250 minus 593.84, which will equal, I don't know. I got to figure that out. Oh, calculator. 254. It's kind of tedious punching all these buttons. And they're so small. This is why almost everyone in the business world, accountants, bankers, they have like adding machines with great big buttons so that they can, really go fast as they type it in. But anyway, this will do it. We've got 253,656, 253,656. Oops, I didn't draw that very good. Let me draw this better. 56, and we got to count down to the cent, and 16 cents. All right, so that's how much I owe the bank on my house after I've made one payment. And again, that's just on the principal. That's not on the interest. How much of the house do I own now? Oh, well, that's how much I paid on the down payment, and I just paid that much to principal. So add those two numbers together, and I might be able to, I was going to try to do that in my head. Well, I know it's 84 cents. How about that? And then 3 add the 0 is a 3. 5 add this 9 would be a 4, carry the 1, and then 1 and 5 and 2 is 8. So there we go, $28,843.84. Double check my mental math, but I think that's right. Right? 250 plus 593, 843. Sounds reasonable. Okay, now what? How do I figure out rows 2 and 3? Payment 2, payment 3. Just like it says on your shampoo bottle. Lather, rinse, repeat. So we have to repeat all those calculations. Okay, so now here's some good news. If you were paying attention to the way I did this, I kind of saved that number. That, of course, is my new principal. So that number there, the new balance number, that's the one I meant to point to. The new balance number, which is still in the calculator right there. That's the number that I now put here. So I can just erase this. You have more room to write. I don't have any more room, so I can just erase that and put in 253,656, 16. And luckily for me, that number is still saved on my calculator. So times rate, 0.0525, times time. And the new interest payment is $1109.75. And if you're doing this right, you will notice that this column gets smaller as you go down. It has to. The amount of interest you're paying goes down every month. And this column should go up. So again, where does this number come from? That minus that. So I'll go to that and I'll just go, okay. So 1706.18 minus my last answer, 596.43. Again, take a look, went up almost $3. Woo! And my new balance, now did I round that right? Yep, 43. And my new balance will be this number minus that number. So all I got to do is type this one in, 253,656.16 minus that last payment I just made. 25,3,059, 253,059. Oh, it's getting smaller every time. And 73 cents, I guess I'll round that to. There we go. And my new equity is this number plus that number. Well, I'm going to have to probably punch that in. So let's see. So that's going to be 28,843. I know I did that one in my head last time, but now there's decimals on it, and I don't trust my head no more. So this plus this, 596.43, gives me that. So 29,440.27 cents. All right, I'm going to pause the video here if anybody's trying this at home, because I'm going to give the people in the room time to try this row themselves. Okay, so see if you can figure it out. So what's the first thing you do? You take the new amount owing, the balance, and that's your new principal, and then you redo the numbers. And then we'll check together to see if we all have the same numbers in a few minutes. Okay, we're back. Let's see if we all got the same numbers. So the first thing we need to do is take this new balance number, which was, it's kind of up there, I'll have to retype it, 253,059 and 73 cents. And that goes here, right, where the principal is. So principal times rate, 0.0525, times time is 1107.14. 1107.14, is that the number you got? If you're off by a cent or so, we don't care. But if that's the number you got, perfect. How do I find this number again? I go take my payment amount of $17.06 and 18 cents, and I minus the last answer I got, and I get, and again, notice this is, seems like it's going up about $3 each time, right? 599.04. But that will increase. The further you go down, the smaller this number gets and the bigger that number gets. And finally, the last two things. This balance is now that number minus this number. So I go 253,059.73, and I minus my last answer. And I get 252,460, 252,460, and, oops, not what I wanted, and 69 cents. Oops, oh man. Okay, go bigger. There we go. 69 cents. Me and my clumsy hands are knocking things around here. Finally, what is my equity? How much of the house do I own now? I own that much, 29,940.27 cents, plus the last payment I made, which was 599.04, 599.04, and I hit enter, and I get 30,539, 30,539 and 31 cents. Now, your homework might ask something like, how much interest did I pay over those first three payments? What would I do to figure that out? I would add together those three numbers, because that's how much interest I paid every month. About $1,000 a month is what I'm paying in interest to the bank. What if it asks, how much in total did I pay towards the principal? I'd add, oops, come on. I'd add these three numbers together, right? Because I paid that much, then that much, then that much. So I have a feeling your homework asks questions like that. Okay? Now, before we go run into the homework, I kind of want to check to see if I'm right. So I am going to do the same calculation again. I'm going to use a spreadsheet. So I showed this class how to do this yesterday. I didn't get to this with the other class until this morning. So here is the first time I'm recording how to do this on a spreadsheet. Okay, so there's the spreadsheet. First thing, all the stuff I have on there right now, I just typed in. It's just typing. Now I'm going to put in the numbers that we're actually going to calculate with. So what was the original again? We mortgaged 282.50. So 282.50 goes into unpaid balance. 282. Wait a minute. What was it again? 282.500. That's better. 282.500. So that's how much my mortgage is for. And my down payment was 10% of that. 282. Oh no, wait a minute. Did I use the wrong number here? 254 or 250? Yes, I did use the wrong number. I forgot. So 254, 250 goes there, and 282.50 was my down payment. There we go. Does that look like this? Yes, it does. Okay, so now everything else I can now calculate. So what I'm going to do for the payment is, well, the payment I can just calculate. I can use the spreadsheet to calculate. I can say, okay, so what's the payment again? It's the E2 number divided by 1,000 and times, and then I had to go look that number up. Oops. Times. And that number was, that's how good my memory is. 0.05. No, wasn't it 6 point? It was 6.71. That's the table number. You're thinking of the interest rate. The table number goes there. So 6.71. And boom, that's the number. And then I don't want all those decimals on it. I'm going to just make it a money number. And that was it, right? That was our number? 1706. Oh, no, and 18 cents. Oh, did we have that number wrong?
No, yeah. You skipped a zero. Wrong, so it was 0.
It was? What did I put wrong?
You just skipped the zero when you were looking at it on your calculator.
It was 018. Oh, okay, so I actually had that wrong originally. Oh, so there should have been a 0 in here. Okay, so all these numbers are off a little. Well, that's disappointing. Oh well, we'll just keep on trucking through here. So look at that. All of this, there's a lesson in how you have to be careful with your calculations. We have, because I rounded this wrong because of my poor eyesight probably, then all the rest of the numbers here are going to be off a little bit. Rounding error. So yeah, half mark off, rounding error. Everything else looks good. Okay, so anyway, let's do this now. So that's my payment. How do I calculate interest again? Interest is my principal times my rate. And what was the rate again? 5.25% we said? 0.525? Oh, yeah. Oops. Ah! Let's just put it up here. 0.0525. And then divided by 12. And that's pretty close to the number we had. Again, it's going to be off a little because well, actually, no, it's not. I just wrote it down wrong. I guess maybe I have that number right. I just wrote it down wrong. Okay, never mind. Okay, moving along. From here, how did I get this principal number? It's that one minus that one. So I just hit equals. And then I want this number minus, and then I just click on it, that number, and then I hit enter, and there's my principal payments. And then how do I get the new unpaid balance? It's, actually I'm going to type it up here. Back. Get out of here. I'll go type it up here so it doesn't cover what I'm doing. This number here minus that number. Okay, and again, that's going to be a little different than mine because I had this number wrong. And then this number here, the equity, is again equal to this number minus, and then the principal number. And then hit enter. And then this number here is always going to be the same. So you know what I'll just do? I'll just type it again. 1706 decimal, I've already forgotten what it was. Decimal 02. Decimal 02. Oh yeah, I hit plus. I meant to hit plus. Thank you. Boom, that's better. Thank you. All right, this number stays the same. So rather than have the formula, just take that number and go fill down. We'll just do 7 payments. We're only supposed to do 3 in the assignment questions. So fill down. There we go. Now, these guys, since they're all formulas, if I go to the right and fill down, it will actually do all the calculating for me. It'll do the repeat part that we just did. And there we go. And ours was this, we only had to do the first 3. So that was where we would have stopped in our homework. So let's see, how far off was I because I made that mistake? Ooh, a couple $100 by the time we get there. 305.39, oh yeah, quite a bit. All because I made a 1 decimal error way back there. Yikes. Anyway, that is how you could use the spreadsheet to help you. You know what else you could do? Is you could go back to these guys and then just edit the details to what we just did. So what were our details again? We wanted not a 25-year mortgage, but we wanted a 20. And we managed to get the bank to say, we'll give you an interest rate of 5.25 and calculate. And notice you can say view chart and then click the chart to, click to the amortization table. And right now it's every year. Click to full and it'll give you every month. And this won't quite be the same as ours either because they aren't using the same amortization table. But it's probably pretty close. Let's see, after 3, it's 25247.52. What is ours? 252, oh, we're up to 3 already. So ours is actually quite a bit better than theirs. But anyway, you get the idea. You can use this, but keep in mind, this one doesn't have the same chart. This part, I mean, the amortization chart. It doesn't, oh, not that. Yeah, that. It doesn't have the same chart that we used. It's based on different numbers and a different, right, this is, I don't know how old this chart is, but it's different now. So there we have it. You can now try to do the next assignment question yourself. So this is the assignment. Some of you probably started it yesterday. It's in the workbook. So this is the workbook right here, right? Oh, wait, that's the Trig workbook. Wrong workbook. Workbook, Home Finance. There we go. There we go. So there it is. We did the 2A one already. We went over number 3 yesterday. So now we're on 2B where there is one amortization table. Then it wants you to use the same exact house, but do the table again twice. What if the mortgage is 25 years and what if it changes to 15 years? So you're making 3 of these tables. If you finish that, I have a hand-in assignment for you to work on. And the other, little announcement I'm going to make today is, hey, on Monday, I'm going to, let's see, that's not you, there you are. On Monday, I'm finally going to get you to hand in your Unit 1 books. So make sure you got your Unit 1 book ready to be handed in. And while you're working on amortization tables, I'll just try to mark them and turn around and give them right back to you. I'm not going to mark every single question. I'm just kind of going through to make sure, A, did you try them all? B, does it look like you kind of corrected? I'll look for maybe obviously wrong answers. And then I'll just give you a mark out of 5, whether you kind of completed it or not. And then there you go. For people who maybe their test mark wasn't exactly what they were hoping for, hopefully as long as you're doing the work, that'll mitigate it and bring you back up. And there we go. Okay. Video out.